What's up, guys? Welcome back to Extreme Daily Drivers. Welcome to the channel if you're new. I've had a ton of new subs recently, so thank you so much for subscribing. This is basically a DIY channel where we're always working on cars, motorcycles, trucks, trying to make them cooler, trying to make them faster, trying to make them more efficient, definitely making them more fun to drive. Basically right now we're in the middle of two builds. We are about to really start working on this guy, but we're also finishing up on the Prelude, and that's where we're going to begin today. We're actually going to start putting some stuff in the Prelude, which is super exciting. This is stuff that I've been wanting to install for literally like years, some of this stuff that I've had, and it's actually going to go in the engine bay today. So we're going to put on our subframe. We're going to reinstall the radiator. We're going to reinstall the brake booster. We're going to test too to make sure that the lines don't actually leak, the ones that I've bent. If you went back and watched my how to delete ABS part 1 and 2, you guys know that I pulled ABS out of the Prelude. I went ahead and reflared a bunch of lines, and we're going to find out today whether or not all that work that I did actually worked. We're going to install our S2000 master clutch cylinder, so that is something I've been dying to do for a super long time. And what else? Some other stuff. It'll be cool though. But before we get to that, I got to show you what I just picked up yesterday in Ocala. There it is, man. Check it out. It is an HKS Super Dragger. Basically looks like an axle back. I think it was from a Honda Accord, but this guy's going on the Prelude, and we're gonna wind up cutting it somewhere around here, and this part's gonna be mounted up. So I got this thing for 40 bucks, man. It's a freaking steal. JDM AF, as you guys know. The thing looks in pretty good condition. A little rust in there, that's no big deal. That'll blow out. But yeah, man, this thing's gonna look awesome. Well, of course we're gonna polish it all up, and it's gonna look real good against these wheels once those wheels get put back on the Prelude. So as you guys know, I polished this back in the day. I did a video on how to do it, and I just hit it with my grinder and a polishing wheel, and I think I took it to another level there on top at least. Looks awesome. I did the bottom too. It's kind of where I practiced, and I didn't show you guys this, but I went ahead and cut off the old pigtail off of the OEM fan and went ahead and soldered it on the aftermarket one we got here. So, and we got it reverse mounted, and when hooked up, this should push air, not pull. So can't wait to get this guy in there, man. This is gonna look awesome. I just remembered that I didn't have a dust seal for the new S2000 Clutch master cylinder, so I had to reuse my old one, but I just degreased it and gave it a little and hit it up with some 303 protectant, and look at it now, man. Looks brand new. So I got some radiator finishing pieces here. So these guys here, this is from Cheddas Auto, I believe it is. I'll put a link in the description box to these guys, but they go on top of the radiator, and what's nice about these is they have new bushings inside there, so no more sloppiness, no more ugly piece on there. They have nice Allen head bolts. And then I got these pieces. Man, I forget who I got these from, but it was somebody off Prelude Power like 2-3 years ago. And so these are essentially brand new bushings for the bottom of the radiator. These are like custom made one-off things. They're awesome. I was using these when the car was running. You couldn't see them, but they were down there. So we're going to reinstall these guys, and these will last forever. They're urethane, not rubber like the stock ones. And then I have this, which I purchased a while ago. What this is supposed to do, this is Downstar's fill in with, if you remove your wing, there are holes left behind, and what this kit's supposed to do is block those holes with some nice looking bolts and some washers. So I purchased this. It didn't work on my Prelude, so I've just had it forever, and what we're going to do is we're going to use these to install on that nice radiator support that's freshly painted. So this should work. I'm guessing it's going to work. We'll find out in a little bit. So I've actually been thinking about it, and I think I'm going to bring these over to reinstall tomorrow too. I didn't film it, but I painted these guys, touched them up real good. They look a hell of a lot better, as you can see out here in the sun. So these are the motors for the pop-up headlights. You know, save the pop-ups, baby. So yeah, clean these up. Turned out real good. They're really hard to tape off. You can see there, had some trouble, but for the most part, you know, they turned out all right. And again, this is going to be kind of mounted. No one's ever really going to see it all that much. There's some overspray in there. That's all right. Don't tell anybody. So here's what we got loaded to go to Randy's. I already have a ton of stuff over there. We brought it over yesterday afternoon, and we're gonna go ahead and install this crap. It's incredibly hot today, man. This is one of the hottest days in a while. But I got one more stop I gotta do before I go to Randy's, and that is we need to get the little clips that replace these guys for the back of the brake booster, and also the back of the master cylinder for the clutch. So I can't stand these things. If you've ever uninstalled one of these, you know why they're the worst things in the world. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the little C-clips. They're so much easier to use, and they're also install, reinstall, install, reinstall all day long, and they don't wear out. So let's stop over there and get those. So check it out. I got two 20 cents each. And that's what I'm talking about. What are those called? Comment below. Cotter pin? Is that what that is? Anyway, that's a game changer right there. That's the way you want to go. So we got the got a little blanket down there. We're gonna ready to put the cross member in. I cut these washers for a reason. I don't remember where or why. Some of them are cut. I guess we'll find out. A little taste of gold. Pow! All right, check it out. I got that boot on there. It went on perfect. The S2000 master cylinder. It's about to go to its new home. There it goes. Boom. Look at that. You don't need a spacer. And look at this brake booster, huh? Woo! Subframe's in. We got our little battery positive negative ports on. S2000 master cylinder, brake booster. We've got our gold accent beauty washers from Downstar, and we got our control arms in here. Everything's hooked up. So we still got to bleed the brakes, but first, before we do that, we got to clean up these fittings on these flares. For right now, we're going to go ahead and drop in the radiator, which is what I've been dying to do for a long time. So put that in. So before we put the radiator on, I want to see if the traction bar goes on. This is the innovative traction bar. I'm going to go ahead and install it without the radius arms right now first, because I want to make sure that it fits right underneath. I already know that the stock bolts don't work, so I ran into the hardware store and got shorter ones. I'll show you the difference between the two bolts. So here's the difference, stock and the ones that I picked up from the hardware store. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I know I've done a really bad job filming stuff, but honestly it's been really frustrating. Not because necessarily the parts I purchased or how long it's taking. It's really just trying to buy pieces for kind of other cars to make fit this car, or even in the case of the traction bar, buying something that's specifically for this car and having it not fit. It's been a comedy of errors, so to speak. So let's go over all the stuff that we got installed currently and all the things that we're kind of fighting along the way. So, all right, so here we're at. So let's start off with everything that's good. So brake booster's in, brake fluid's in, my ABS tuck worked. We have no leaks. Everything is solid here. So brakes currently work on the car, we're all good. Brake booster's mounted upside down on purpose because I wanted to hide the vacuum line as much as possible. And we also cut the little senders on the cap. They basically tell your car if your brake fluid's low. We don't need that. It's just another wire and it's ugly. So we got rid of that. We got our rear mount on with our Downstar hardware. That worked perfectly. These are innovative mounts. And the innovative traction bar is in. So the innovative traction bar was a little bit of a battle. I had to actually elongate holes on one side of this in order to make this work. So had to actually drill it out a little bit for this to fit on right. Quite honestly, it's not that big of a deal to me. When you buy aftermarket stuff, a lot of times it doesn't fit right, so you kind of have to deal with it. So I had to elongate those holes a little bit. The hard part was it was really, really tough steel. One of the best parts about building cars is not actually working on them or driving them, but it's the relationships that you make along the way. And luckily I was able to go over to CW Pence. They were able to help me out real quick, and we were able to get the whole thing kind of situated. So traction bar's on there. Traction bar's in, but it's created another issue. traction bar fits right. This fits correctly. However, when the radiator goes in, the radiator is bottoming out on this bracket here. So we've come up with a whole bunch of different slew of things we've tried to make this radiator fit right. We've cut a whole bunch of stuff off of it. Let me show you. So right here you can see the two spots that I went ahead and cut off and kind of smoothed down a little bit. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but right now we're just trying to get this thing to fit. So that helped, but it still didn't create enough room for this thing to fit properly. Basically it was sitting too high. Next we went ahead and cut down these nubs here on the top to try to lower the radiator. It's kind of like sandwiched in there between the top bracket and the bottom bracket, and that did help a little bit. We were able to get our brackets to fit flush on the top of the radiator, but we still don't have enough space. So after modifying the way we did with the radiator, we did get it to kind of sit lower and sit properly, but we're running into another issue now. And it's sitting on this mount right here on the traction bar. If this guy wasn't here, we'd have no issues. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove that. That's gonna be in the next video. It's really for an H22. I'm not going H22. If I do, I'll just get another traction bar. It's not a big deal. For right now, it not being there would be a much cleaner look. The radiator will fit fine. And believe me, when the radiator fits in this spot with this on top, with these beauty washers, I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, it literally is like a showstopper. So we're gonna make it work. We're gonna somehow make it work. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna modify that traction bar and get rid of that bracket to make it happen. All right, last but not least, let's talk about motor mount bolts. So as you guys know, I bought a whole bunch of stuff from Downstar. It was hardware for a B series, I think. I was rolling the dice that it would work on this car, but it doesn't. So here's some mounting holes where the transmission mount's gonna go. And this is the hardware that I bought from Downstar. And you slide it in, that's how far it goes until it starts to bite. So it's way too short. So what I need is something like this. This is like the perfect length. Starts to bite right there, turn in and tight. The good news is Randy has a relationship with Frank from Downstar, and called him up personally, told him about the issue, and Frank said, just tell me what size bolts you need. So awesome. Downstar is fantastic. Buy their products. Frank is awesome. So anyway, I'm gonna get him these, basically how many millimeters the new bolts are gonna be, and hopefully they'll send them away. So we'll be good there and be able to mount the rest of the mounts inside the bay. So anyway guys, that's gonna end this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button, please subscribe. Please stay tuned. Lots more Prelude stuff coming, as well as XP stuff. So as promised, I'm gonna be kind of going back and forth in between the projects. Let me know if you have any questions about anything I've done. Please comment below. Check us out at extremedolydrivers.com. I think that's it. I'll see you next time. Later.